Good evening and welcome to tonight's Scope. This is Wayne Breitbarth, the author of The Power Formula for LinkedIn Success. Inviting you in. Come on in, everybody. It's good to have you joining tonight's Scope. Tonight's Scope will be an interesting one and probably a real eye-opener for you. Welcome, replay viewers. Excuse me. Glad to have you here as well. And I'm going to flip the camera. We will come back to this chart when we get into the meat of it. All right. It's Wayne Breitbarth. I have my LinkedIn t-shirt on tonight because we're talking about connections on LinkedIn. So I thought I would wear my t-shirt when I'm covering this topic, because it's a very important topic on LinkedIn. It's what everybody struggles with is big network, small network, big network, small network, which is better? And the answer is, it depends. Like everything else in life, it's not just one thing, it depends. It depends what your strategy is. It may even change depending on what's going on in your life and what things are changing, or looking for a job, or changing careers, or who knows. But you should understand why you might want to have a bigger network and what the pros and cons of that bigger network will bring you. Because there are pros and cons, because like everything in life, it ain't all good. But in general, it's good. In general, larger networks are good as long as they're very strategic. Okay, so for the rest of this scope, I want you to get your head around that when I talk about adding connections, I'm not just saying add everybody, saying be more and more strategic. So I'm going to flip the screen around and we're going to go back to the chart. Okay. All right. Good. So this is what I call the LinkedIn Connections Continuum. And it's a chart that I've been using for many years now, especially in my advanced sales classes, to help people understand what they're getting into when they build a bigger network. So the continuum works along more connections is this way. Okay, less connections, right? So that direction is adding more connections to your network. And I'm going to take you through the things that get better and the things that that are worse by going that direction. Okay. So let's talk about the people that use this as a strategy and the people that use this as a strategy. So this strategy is, excuse me, that I call it the handshake or the hug strategy. That's where people in your network you know very well. And that's pretty typical. It's the handshake or the hug that I probably have met somebody already and that I let them into my network. That's very typical, actually. And that's where you have a smaller amount of connections, but you know them all. You know, you feel comfortable with every one of them and you trust them all. And actually, it's the way the LinkedIn user agreement is written, that you connect with only people that you know. Although we know that LinkedIn encourages us to have bigger networks than just that, because the connect button shows up everywhere. So the other side of this equation, the continuum, is people that call themselves Lions. And Lion stands for LinkedIn Open Networker. So those are people that connect with basically everybody. Everybody on LinkedIn they will connect with. And they have found out that helps their business. A lot of those people might be recruiters or people that sell things all over the world to a really large audience. And they want to be called a Lion. And you can become a Lion you don't have to contact LinkedIn to do that. You just put it on your profile. And you also put on your profile, typically your email address is easy to find because you want people to invite you, because you don't want to use up your connection request to invite everybody. You only get 3,000 outbound invitations on LinkedIn in your entire career until you ask for more. So, excuse me. So that's why Lions like you invite them into your network, because then they don't burn one of their invitations. Okay, so the journey from here, going this direction, comes with some good and some bad stuff. And you need to understand it so that before you take this journey, that you know what you're getting into. Let's talk about the things that aren't going to be so cool. Spam and viruses increase by the number of people you add to your network that you don't know well enough that would try to hurt you. And spam and viruses can be just that, computer spam, sending you links that are dangerous, or maybe calling a friend and dropping your name when they didn't have permission, and that's a form of spam too. And so things could happen because people have your email addresses once you're connected to them, and moving that direction might not be cool. Okay, another thing that is not good is your introductions. You'll have to tell some of your friends sometimes when they want to be introduced to somebody that you don't know somebody. Sorry, I don't know them well. I've never met them. My network's a pretty big network. I can't introduce you to them. And so that's a bummer. They might see that you have people in your network that they think you'll be able to introduce them to, and you can't get that done. So that's another downside. Then time commitment on LinkedIn takes more time to be on LinkedIn when you have a big network, because your feed is going to get busier, lots of more status updates. You're going to get some messaging from people that you don't know, more messaging, sales pitches, those kinds of things, when you are connected to people that basically want to send you stuff to get you to buy stuff. And if they're stuck in London and need 3 million pounds, and we've all gotten those emails. Okay, so your time commitment will be more when you have a bigger network. So those are the three things that aren't good: spam and viruses, introductions, and time commitment. But the two things that are good and that will be better will be your marketing audience and search ranking. So your marketing audience gets bigger because you have the ability now to a larger audience to send email messaging to, and status updates, and people receive your published post. So those three features on LinkedIn are great marketing features, and you'll have a bigger audience. So if you've got 2,000 connections and if somebody else has 200, well, a status update with 2,000 connections has a chance of being seen by a lot more people than the person that has 200. Okay, so marketing gets much better by going this direction. Okay, search ranking, that has been clear, and I've tested it over and over, that LinkedIn does like people to have a lot of connections and have shared connections. That's how when a search listing comes up, there's an order to every one of them, and it's called relevancy. And LinkedIn has never really told me. They are clear when I do searches to show that people will be higher that tend to have more connections and more shared connections. Total connections and shared connections. So your search ranking will go up a lot by going this direction. So, like I mentioned at the beginning, there's pros and cons to this. And you have to step back and say, what am I trying to accomplish, and can I get it more benefit than problems? And I think as a salesperson you will, especially if you're adding connections somewhat strategically, but a little more open than this, where it's only people that you know. A salesperson that follows that strategy is probably going to struggle a little bit. I think salespeople should be moving out here somewhere, and because you want to meet more people, you want to have a bigger network because you're trying to get more done. You're trying to find people that you haven't met before, and friends of friends, and a bigger network gives you more friends of friends, and the ability to get introduction, and so on and so forth. So I don't want you to really I'm not suggesting you become a lion, but I'm suggesting that usually to be a strategic open networker is a good idea, especially if you're in sales or business development, or you own your own business, or let's say you're a job seeker. Job seekers should have bigger networks too, because bigger networks are going to help the search engine and all the things we just went through. And bigger networks are just going to be bigger networks, and bigger networks help you get where you might need to go. So this chart, along with an article that goes with this chart, is available for you. And I'm going to show you how to get that when I flip the screen here. So I'm going to leave this chart, And just to summarize, moving along this continuum with more connections, a couple things will be will be a little dicier: spam and virus, introduction, effectiveness, and time commitment. But the things you're going to love are your marketing audience increases and your search ranking improves. All right, I'm back. Okay, cool. Okay, now how do you get that chart along with the article that goes with it? This is the link. So put this in your URL and you'll get a copy of that chart along with an article that will take you through sort of what I just talked about, so that you have the ability to think about it a little deeper as you're rewatching this video. And this is the big deal on LinkedIn. I mean, it really is the big deal. The big deal is getting people to move outside of their comfort zone of, my network is only made of people that I know, into, I'm going to connect with people and try to make new relationships. And so when people say this, connect with me, you ought to think twice before you hit don't ignore, and say to yourself, is there anything on this profile that resonates with me as far as me helping them or them helping me? Are they in my town? Are they in my industry? All those are the kinds of questions you would ask before you accept. And hopefully, if you're thinking a little more aggressively, a little more that direction on the chart, you will accept more invitations and you will send out more invitations trying to get the right people to join your network. So I hope this was helpful to you. And if you found it helpful, please be sure to share it with people. And you can click the little Peridoo down in the corner here if you'd like to share it here on Periscope or on Twitter or on Facebook. And then if you find my info, happy to connect with you. Just explain that we met on Periscope. That'd be super. And reminding you, I'm Wayne Breitbarth. I am the author of The Power Formula for LinkedIn Success. And I come to you every few days, 4 or 5 days a week, bringing you good LinkedIn tips and strategies that you might not have thought of in this format of video, either on Facebook Live or Periscope. And I hope to see you again. Thanks again for joining me, and have yourself a good evening.